My husband caught me secretly breastfeeding our son and now he wants a divorce. Do you ever read things that make you think, this can't be real life? We mean the kind of stuff that makes you lose faith in humanity. Sadly, we often find ourselves wondering if the human race can get any worse, and then we go to social media and find that, yes, in fact, there are more awful people in the world than we thought. An ex-user recently shared a disturbing post that we can't shake. Screenshots of a text conversation between a woman and her husband about breastfeeding their newborn son were posted by @ask_Aubrey, and people were positively shocked. The man accused his wife of not only being disrespectful to him but also incestuous for allowing their infant son to touch her breasts. Now, people want her to run as fast as she can. She's apparently robbing her husband of pleasure. The so-called husband blasts his wife for breastfeeding their son, saying it was totally UN-needed and that she should have asked the hospital for a pump, and pontificates his knowledge of science, claiming that formula is just as good as breast milk. His wife replies, "I know. But the benefit of the breast milk still outweighs the formula. Latching helps drop the milk better than the pumps." And he makes this unhinged statement, "Yeah, the benefit to where I'll never be able to look at you the same way again." He then calls her a bad wife and accuses her of stealing his joy because her breasts are meant to please him. This guy goes totally off the rails. After she questions him about how she stole his joy, he tells her that her breasts have been in another man's mouth, which takes the pleasure away from him. When she claps back that he is talking about a baby, the man texts, "He's a male. And your son. That makes it incestuous in my eyes." The argument continues with the man reminding his wife how they compromised about breastfeeding with their other child, and now he wants a divorce. The guy is totally unglued. The conversation disturbed a lot of people. Breastfeeding is a natural thing for mothers and babies. There is nothing sexual about it, and this man's take really caught people off guard. One person wrote, he thinks her breastfeeding their son is incestuous, and he can't be attracted to her when her breast has been in another man's mouth. But he's graciously not going to demand full custody. Why is she arguing with him? She should divorce him and demand full custody. So many agreed, such as this person who wrote, "Wait, so he's divorcing her because he thought her breasts were his toys? Now he's mad because she used them to feed their son? Wow. It's sad that there's a newborn involved in this now, but she's better off without him." It's no surprise the post went viral and that people want the wife to get away from this man. This is not a marriage and this woman deserves so much better. I'm not saying anything I haven't told you before. I really wish more women would believe the awful things their boyfriends' husbands say before having a child by them. What an awful position to be in right after giving birth, uneasy face, one person wrote. So many agreed. Girl, run, this breaks my heart for her. She is in an abusive relationship and I am glad that the hospital made a referral. I hope she keeps these text messages for the custody hearings, one person commented. And this person who wrote, the fact he won, feels this way too. Told her she had to leave the home when she gets on her feet is literally insane. I cannot believe they have 2 children together if this issue apparently came up before. Wild. I'm considering having a 4th baby just so I can keep breastfeeding my husband. Breastfeeding can create a beautiful bond between a mother and her baby. It is a perfectly natural experience, and many mothers love the time they spend breastfeeding their children. Many call it liquid gold, and for good reason. A mother's milk is scientifically proven to provide nourishment for her child and has been known to help with ailments like eczema and baby acne. Every family's breastfeeding journey is different, and we are not here to judge, but we'd be lying if we said that one couple's breastfeeding story didn't make us raise our eyebrows. Rachel Bailey, 31, breastfed her 3 children, and when she was nursing her youngest, her husband, Alexander, 30, realized he also enjoys his wife's breast milk. So much so that when the couple's son stopped nursing, they considered having another baby so Alexander could continue to breastfeed. They ultimately chose not to have a 4th child but to share their story in a book. Rachel and Alexander reportedly felt a stronger bond through breastfeeding. We have certainly heard about a mother and a child becoming closer while breastfeeding, and the same was apparently true for Alexander and Rachel. While their youngest son was nursing, Rachel was able to feed him, and Alexander and the couple enjoyed the experience. I was breastfeeding both my son and my husband, and then one day my son was just no longer interested in my breast milk at all, Rachel told Caters News per the New York Post. I continued feeding Alexander for about 2 weeks, but it was like my body knew that my son no longer needed the milk and it was all gone. When Rachel's milk dried up, things changed. She explained to Caters News that she and her husband were actually grieving the loss of their breastfeeding time and considered another baby to continue the journey. We realized that was drastic action to take and a lot of work, so instead we began looking for other ways that we could bond as a couple, Rachel told Caters News. Instead, she and Alexander spent time together making videos for social media and even wrote a book about their journey called Milkin' It. The couple is committed to each other. They love to have fun, and she insisted to Caters News that there was nothing sexual about Alexander's breastfeeding, it was just a way for them to bond. But now, they start their days early for special one-on-one time. We get up each morning at 5 a.m. before the craziness of the day begins and enjoy the calmness of the early morning. We chat, meditate, and just breathe, Rachel told Caters News. We also started some business ventures together, so that has been a new fun way for us to bond. Yes, things have gotten weird. Because they shared their story with the public, people have made some strange requests. I still have people asking me every day if they can buy my breast milk. I have even had people asking if they can meet up with me so that I can breastfeed them too, Rachel told Caters News. She added that it could have been an interesting business venture. We had lots of requests from people asking us to make videos of ourselves breastfeeding, but we never considered it, although I'm sure the money would have been nice, she said. Their book explains the highs and lows of their relationship. Milkin' It explores the couple's life after viral fame for their breastfeeding journey and shows that life isn't always what people think. Even though many of us share our lives online, we are also opening ourselves up to the opinions of others. The book's description explains. Amidst the stories of triumphs, failures, laughs, and tears, is an unconventional love story that blossomed between 2 souls, leading them to find solace and strength in each other and occasionally, in a sip of breast milk. Despite being thrust into the glaring eye of virality for their unique choices, they remained unshaken, solid in their love, and ever ready to milk every ounce of experience life thrust their way. How a scammer used forged emails to convince her boss to give her 3.7 million Singapore dollars over 10 years. CNA looks at several emails written by Lynn Charlotte James, who posed as government officials and cheated her boss out of his life savings. Singapore. In what a judge called a heartrending case, an elderly man lost his life savings and almost lost his wife after his employee at a real estate firm cheated him into handing over nearly 3.7 million Singapore dollars, $2.8 million US dollars. The employee's nearly decade-long ruse began in May 2008 and only came to a halt when the victim's niece caught wind of what was happening and went to the authorities. Aside from being ruined financially, the victim, who turned 70 later this year, suffered a stroke due to the stress of the case. The man and his wife nearly divorced and currently stay in a rented home, unable to afford even a two-room flat. The scammer, Lynn Charlotte James, was sentenced to 12 years jail last week as her former boss and his wife looked on stoically from the public gallery. Following the court case, some members of the public questioned how James had duped her victim for so long through hundreds of official-looking but ultimately forged emails. CNA has obtained copies of 7 such emails and one letter that James cooked up, showing how she posed as officials from the Singapore government. The emails contained the typical boilerplates used by government agencies, complete with URLs and confidentiality warnings under the Official Secrets Act. One email was even made to look like a system-generated message from the Ministry of Law, Minute Law. On October 5, 2009, James had already been running her scam for more than a year when she impersonated an official from the Insolvency and Public Trustee's Office, IPTO. She was facing bankruptcy, but told her boss she had become bankrupt and that IPTO had retained funds in her bankruptcy estate. She asked him to help her pay various purported fees to IPTO so that it would release the funds to her. IPTO falls under Minute Law and oversees the administration of individual and corporate insolvencies. James wrote an email under the official's name, making reference in the subject header to an individual insolvency matter and what looked like a legitimate case number. The email stated that she had to ensure she had sufficient funds of 2,878 Singapore dollars by the end of the day to ensure the smooth process of your release. I have aided to screen through all your accounts and am pleased to churn out the final payout to you. This figure is the total amount which already includes all the refunds and the overpayment from various departments, the email read. The figure reads at 748 Singapore dollars 221.97. We have aided to release your funds within a week starting from the 6th of October. Another email on April 18, 2012, originated from Minlaw_agent_runner, saying that Minute Law had sent her an email with an attachment that is summoned from the Singapore subordinate courts. The email also came with a supposed case ID and said James had successfully logged the above case with us. It ended with a footer usually seen in system-generated emails, warning recipients not to reply to the email. In 2013, James then forged a letter with the stamp of a senior district judge in Singapore. The letter listed several orders given by the judge after inspecting certain elements into the discharge and release of funds for her. These orders included James having to be at 1, Parliament Place, the address of Parliament House, at 3:45 p.m. on August 14. James would also purportedly be receiving a $965 256.00 credit note for presenting to the bank on the 20th of August, 2013. The court previously heard that she had created such fake documents and emails from the Attorney General's chambers and judges such as Chief Justice Sundaresh Menon asking her to continue paying fees to IPTO. She told the victim that if he stopped paying money, the funds he had already sunk in would be confiscated and he would not be able to get his money back. She warned him not to report the matter, saying that IPTO would confiscate her funds if they found out he was helping her and he would not be able to get any money back. This was borne out in an email dated February 11, 2015, from another purported IPTO official. The email stated that someone could be pressurizing James to return what they have helped you. It further read, "Madam, remember you are a bankrupt and that those who help you know you are a bankrupt and not allowed to pressure you or belittle you to return the money because knowing your condition, they should await the full discharge. This is why we offer the debt function." The purported official listed more payments to be given and added, "I have also consolidated everything so that there would not be any more credits to further traumatize you." In a different italicized font, The email stated the penalty that a discharged bankrupt could get if they failed to give assistance to the official assignee. An official assignee acts as the receiver of a bankrupt person's estate and helps them obtain a discharge from bankruptcy. The latest email that CNA obtained was dated August 30, 2016. It told James about salaries being available for withdrawal and warned her to follow and upkeep all bankruptcy rules during these times. The email included what looked like provisions from the Supreme Court of Judicature Act, specifically on the court's power to extend time, its manner of taking evidence, and how it awards costs at its discretion.